Your Excellencies, the Presidents of Benin and Senegal, Your Excellency, the Vice President of Côte d'Ivoire, President of the African Development Bank, Secretary General of the African Union, Commissioner of the African Union Commission, my cabinet colleague, Sri Arun Jaitley, Chief Minister of Gujarat, Sri Vijay Rupani, distinguished guests and brothers and sisters from Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered today in the state of Gujarat. The Gujarati flair for business is well known. Gujaratis are also famous for their love of Africa. As an Indian and a Gujarati, I'm very happy that this meeting is being held in India and that too in Gujarat. India has had strong ties with Africa for centuries. Historically, communities from Western India, especially Gujarat, and the eastern coast of Africa have settled in each other's lands. The Siddhis of India are said to have come from East Africa. The Bohra communities in coastal Kenya date back to the 12th century. Vasco da Gama is said to have reached Calicut with the help of a Gujarati sailor from Malindi. The Daos of Gujarat took merchandise in both directions. Ancient links between societies have also enriched our culture. The rich Swahili language includes many Hindi words. During the colonial era, 32,000 Indians came to Kenya to build the iconic Mombasa-Uganda railway. Many lost their lives during this railway construction. Around 6,000 of them stayed back and brought their families. Many of them started small businesses called dukas and came to be known as dukawalas. આપણે ત્યાં દુકાન કહે ને એને ત્યાં દુકાન જ કહે છે. During the colonial years, merchants, artisans, and later officials, teachers, doctors, and other professionals went to East and West Africa, creating a vibrant community which combines the best of India and Africa. Mahatma Gandhi, another Gujarati, perfected his tools of non-violence struggle in South Africa. He also visited Tanzania in 1912 along with Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Several leaders of Indian origin supported strongly and fought alongside the leaders of Africa's struggles for independence, including Mr. Nyerere, Mr. Kenyatta, and Nelson Mandela. After the freedom struggle, several leaders of Indian origin were also appointed in the cabinets of Tanzania and South Africa. There are at least 6 Tanzanians of Indian origin who are now serving as members of parliament in Tanzania. The trade union movement of East Africa was started by Makhan Singh. It was during the trade union meetings that the first call of Kenyan independence was sounded. M.A. Desai and Piogama Pinto participated actively in Kenya's independence struggle. The then Prime Minister sent an Indian member of Parliament, Diwan Chamanlal, to be part of Kenyatta's defense team when the latter was imprisoned and tried during the Kapenguria trial in 1953. The defense team included 2 other persons of Indian origin. India was steadfast in its support for Africa's freedom. Nelson Mandela said, and I quote, "India came to our aid. India came to our aid when the rest of the world stood by or gave succor to our oppressors. When the doors of international councils were closed, India opened the way. You took up our battles as if they were your own," unquote. Over decades, our ties have become stronger. After assuming office in 2014, I have made Africa a top priority for India's foreign and economic policy. The year 2015 was a watershed. The third India-Africa summit held that year was attended by all 54 African countries having diplomatic relations with India. A record 41 African countries participated at the level of heads of the state or a government. Since 2015, I have visited 6 African countries: South Africa, Mozambique, Tanzania, Kenya, Mauritius, and Seychelles. Our president had visited 3 countries: Namibia, Ghana, and Ivory Coast. The vice president visited 7 countries: Morocco, Tunisia, Nigeria, Mali, Algeria, Rwanda, and Uganda. I am proud to say that there is no country in Africa that has not been visited by an Indian minister in the last 3 years. Friends, from a time when we mainly had mercantile and maritime links between Mombasa and Mumbai, we have today this annual meeting which connects Abidozo and Ahmedabad. Business links between Bamako and Bangalore. Cricketing links between Chennai and Cape Town. Development links between Delhi and Dakar. This brings me to our development cooperation. India's partnership with Africa is based on a model of cooperation which is responsive to the needs of African countries. It is demand-driven and free of conditions. As one plank of this cooperation, India extends lines of credit through India's Exim Bank. 152 credits have been extended to 44 countries for a total amount of nearly $8 billion. During the third India-Africa Forum Summit, India offered $10 billion for development projects over the next 5 years. We also offered grant assistance of $600 million. India is proud of its educational and technical ties with Africa. 13 current former presidents, prime ministers, and vice presidents in Africa have attended educational or training institutions in India. 6 current or former chief of armed forces in Africa train in India's military institutions. 2 current ministers of the interior have attended Indian institutions. Under the popular India Technical and Economic Cooperation Program, more than 33,000 scholarships have been offered to officials from African countries since 2007. One of our best partnerships in the area of skills is the training of solar mamas. Every year, 80 African women are trained in India to work on solar panels and circuits. After that training, they go back and literally electrify their communities. Each woman is responsible for electrifying 50 houses in her community on return. And you'll be surprised. A necessary condition for the women to be selected is that they be illiterate or semi-literate. They also learn several other skills like basket making, beekeeping, and kitchen gardening during their stay. We have successfully completed the Pan-Africa e-network project for telemedicine and telenetwork covering